Everybody, Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. This is the horrible cat creature, and let's see if we can't make his disgusting, poorly proportioned self a little more fun. There's a couple little strings here and there, but I'm not too worried about them. All right, first order of business. Let's get a soft makeup brush. Something like that, or I have some new ones I'd like to try. Mini makeup brushes, set of 3 from Dollar Tree. I don't know, that one's pretty soft. But I think they all kind of are when it starts out. So we can give it a shot and see how it goes. Oh, I'm having all kind of problems here. Alright, I'm going to get some white paint to get started. And I always start with white for the most part. Now, right now, he does not look particularly interesting. Let's make sure we don't have too much paint on here, or this will become a shit show. And let's see if we got any detail with our paint, with our glue job that we can work with. And it looks like we got some. No perfection. That's okay. We got quite a bit of detail that'll be useful. Let's come back through and lighten up some of the darker spots so we're not stuck with a dark color palette. There's like kind of a hole right there that we missed with the glue. I say we, it was I, obviously. And if you wanted to stop right now and go back and fix any holes, you could. I'm not going to. Okay, rethinking. Got some spider webs down here we got to get rid of. Okay. I think we can work with that. So, that brush, Dollar Tree, pretty sick. Now, I want to use a kind of one base coat over his entire body to get started. And I want it to be thinned down and watered down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a really soft synthetic brush, and I'm going to pick this piece of plastic or glue off him, and I'm going to pick a color. So I want it to be kind of a color that could attract children, something that might not be scary to them. So I'm going to use this turquoise as my base coat, and I'm just going to get a little bit of that on my cardboard here, aka my white trash palette, and I'm going to water that down some, and I'm going to paint him all that color. I see there's enough detail to play with and that we can get something out of it, and I want to take advantage of that. And a thin coat will dry, leaving, if I thinned it out enough, it'll leave some of that shadow from where the dark is underneath there, in theory. I'm not sure if I did thin it out enough, but we'll know quite soon if I did. When we hit it with the air gun, we'll be able to see any of the dark recesses. I am on a weird eating thing right now. So I am a little bit hungry because I have to eat non-processed foods for a week. And it's a lot harder than you think. At least a week I have to eat non-processed foods. And I'm like, you know, totally into breads and donuts and cake and a lot of that kind of stuff. Probably why I'm so incredibly healthy in the midsection. All right, I think that's everywhere we can get. Where was that hole at? There was that hole. Let's make sure we get some paint in there, so it's not just a horrible, good black hole. All right, I'm going to throw that brush in my water for now. Then we're going to hit this dude with the air gun. +5 hot air gun burning. As you look here, you can see that it definitely, the light and the dark with that thin coat does make a difference. You can definitely see. So make sure it's dry all the way. That's what I'm doing right now. You can see right here where I didn't have the glue, enough hot glue in there. And then that spot there. And there's just, you know, there's no perfection on this guy. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's get a lighter blue though, and a dry brush. Let's try the next brush out of that 3-pack from the Dollar Tree, the mini makeup brushes set of 3 by Be Pure. Let's try the next brush, and let's get a lighter blue. So for my lighter blue, I'm going to use this tropical blue. Let me get some of that. And I don't think the contrast was big enough that it's really paying off. So let me get something a little lighter. This is Caribbean. And it's a little lighter and a little brighter. It's got like less saturation, but it's a brighter color. Less vivid, more bright. Let's try this. And now you can see that I did not dry it off all the way in some spots. You can see it kind of pulling them together. And that's okay. We're going to make that work because we got to get this going here. Then we're going to want to get like a really light color, like a frosty kind of color to kind of come over it one more time, I'm thinking, to get the best results. Let me see what I got. I've got some light blues in her. Oh, look at this. Sky blue. Sky blue, I'm looking for you. This has a bit of a periwinkle kind of look to it to me. I've looked up into the sky from time to time and not noticed any periwinkle, but I'm also not a professional paint developer or a color theorist or anything like that. This might be the exact color of the sky. Right now, we might be using the exactly perfect tone of the sky above. Keep that in mind as we're working on this, that we could be breaking history in half at this moment with the first perfection we've ever shown on the channel. So I will give these brushes some serious credit. There are no bristles falling out, and I'm applying a bit of pressure as I'm too lazy to get more paint on the brush, and it seems like it is working out pretty good. I'm starting to really like the look here, but I do think a dark wash would be a big payoff on this dude. But I don't want to take away from his beauty. I'm going to do the wash. I really want to use a product, but I don't want to waste money or time on such a silly product. A silly project, I mean. Getting everybody's favorite color. I don't know if it's everybody's favorite color, but somebody's. Not my favorite color. My favorite color is, you guessed it, pavement. And let's go around the base here, trying to miss the foot as much as possible. We can come back with a smaller brush and get in between the toes and stuff. And let's go for that painted desert look I've been killing it with. I say I've been killing it, but sometimes it's annoying to look at. I don't like things to be super drab or annoyingly boring. I like high contrast, and I like grays and browns and stuff. I'm not like a big blue guy or a big, you know. I'm usually not that guy that uses a ton of fake blood or anything. And I also don't like miniatures to always look like they're like in combat. Sometimes I like miniatures, you know, to look like they're just like chilling. I wanted this guy to look like he's trying to walk, and as like a toddler who can't keep their balance well is kind of what I was trying to go for. And I think I got something along those lines, but I wouldn't say that it's exactly what I aimed for, but it's ballpark. Okay, so once I have a good coat of that on there, and I didn't get too much on the miniature, I'm going to go around the outside. I'm going to get a smaller brush and get in those toes and stuff. Okay, let's dry this off and try to make something work. As I'm thinking about it, we don't want to really dry it off all the way. Let's get some khaki, which is a really light, sandy kind of brown or tan. Get a little bit of that. Let's make sure that brush we had is damp that we were using for the base. Get some water, mix that up, and kind of smear it around in there. Okay. So, the Kattywumpus, which is I think what I'm going to call this, can only be seen by children or people under the influence of drugs and alcohol. It is largely substantial in imagination, and its physical form only exists if you believe it does. So your party might encounter this multiple times, and they can't figure out how to deal with it, and they have to figure out the secret. If they know children can see it, if they've figured that out because they've heard stories and stuff, then maybe they could get children to be their eyes and ears as they face this monster. And otherwise, using drugs or alcohol, or maybe a magic spell that gives them true seeing or something like that, is the only way to deal with this. True seeing actually makes the creature weaker because it's not a matter of belief, it's a matter of knowledge, and it needs the belief more than it needs because it's imaginative. I think that's how you would play that to make it interesting. So let's start with a wash, and I don't have one made, so let's get a cup. Here's actually one that's kind of made, but it's all grays, and I want some blue in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of this mountain blue. I'm going to mix it in there. Then I'm going to get my really soft brush that I used to paint him, or paint the whole body, and I'm going to mix that up and see if it's dark enough to be a wash. It is dark enough. I don't love it. Let me get a dab of, it's been sitting for a couple days. Let me get a dab of isopropyl alcohol in there. And this was just a wash made with pavement and water and rubbing alcohol. And probably a dab of, can't think of what it's called. Dish liquid, most likely, knowing me. So let's see what this does. Now I'm worried about those feet down there getting messed up, so I'm going to come back with a smaller brush to do those. But I don't want it on my base. Okay. And I think we've caught everywhere that is needed. I'm going to shake that off. I'm going to wipe this down. I'm going to leave this rag here for just a moment. I'm going to use the air gun and kind of blow away any excess that I don't want to run down onto my base. Now you can come in with a little piece of cloth, and you could probably just use like edge of your t-shirt or something, and just make a little kind of like a dabber. And get the wettest spots where it's just too much that you might not like it there. Just absorb that up, okay? And some of these grooves are pretty deep on him. All right, he's got the look. Let's figure out those eyes. So I'm just gonna get my cardboard back out, and I'm gonna get some white paint. Off-white might be better. But I grabbed white because it was close and I knew where it was. I'm gonna get a small brush, like a size 1. And these are those really cheap ones I got from like Temu or Alibaba or wherever it was. Those are a little bit wonky and bad, so I'm going to come back and fix them with eyeliner. And when I say eyeliner, I don't mean physical eyeliner. I'm going to get some wet paint, and this mountain is pretty damp. It's like pretty saucy. I didn't do it, it was like that. And I'm going to come underneath and paint a line under the eye and clean that up on both sides. And then I'm going to take a look at it again. I'm going to go right over the top and do the same thing. All right. Clean those up and make them a little more even. This one eye over here, his right eye left to us, needs a little bit more. Okay. We're going to use the same color since it's darker than the rest of them. We're going to paint his nose with that too. And his mouth is closed. We're just going to kind of dab that over to that spot to make it look a little darker. Now for the claws. I'm using dark blue gray. This should give a tiny bit of contrast, but not an enormous amount. And I'm just going to dab this on here quickly. I'm not going to put an enormous amount of effort into that, making that into a whole thing. Palms of the paws. Just going to do some circles and some lines. Nothing drastic or crazy. Circle, some lines. I'm going to hit the inside of the claws. Then I'm going to hit the toes down here. And I'm not going for perfection. Just selling the idea a little bit. All right, so the eyes are interesting at this point because they're just big white circles. And I want them to be kind of glowing yellow. I don't know a way to do it with regular paint, but with speed paint, I can get that look. So my eyes are dry. I'm going to get some of this Zealot Yellow. I'm just going to get a drop of that. And again, you could water down paint and try to get this, but the saturation goes down so far that it just doesn't look the same. So I'm going to get that yellow and make sure it's not a giant glob, but I'm going to try to drag it in there carefully across that eye. Like that. Give it a little bit of a glow. You could definitely come back and do a tiny dot of like orange or something in the middle. I don't want to because my hands are shaking already. I'm having trouble gripping the brush well. And I don't want to mess up my work. So there it is. I can't remember what I was going to call it now. I had a name for it and I forget it. Damn it, Chris. Oh, what was it? Kattywumpus. How do we spell it? Well, probably not the way you would spell it if you were using the term Kattywumpus. There we go, Kattywumpus. That M is amazing. So there's the Kattywumpus, fictitious fey-like kind of creature in the Old West that started out as a small, cute little cat man that kids would just kind of see off in the corner of their eyes and people wouldn't believe him, to one that evolved into a horrible, terrifying nightmare that only brings the destruction and eating of villagers and children. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what I did here today, I'm glad. That's what I set out to do, is make something enjoyable for you. I didn't know what I was going to make, but I knew it was going to try to be enjoyable. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment, and all the happy crappy that pleases the great spirits of the algorithm. And if you're interested in getting some really nice miniatures, come to our website, www.dungeon-swag.com. And there's a 25% discount code in the description that you can find, and a link to that website. Also, we have a Discord server. And on the Discord server right now, we're having a cool competition where everybody's making tardigrades, 3D models of tardigrades, whether it be with crocheting or felting or modeling or making a miniature from scratch. Somebody's using clay, I noticed. Somebody has altered a cork and some beads. So come on there and join our competition, the Tardigrade Off, which ends on the 30th. We'd love to have you. And we'll see you next time.